Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for Season 2, Episode 8 of Severance. So this week on Severance, we once again get a bottle episode focusing on a character that has not appeared in Season 2 very much so far. This week we follow Harmony Cabell as she goes back to her hometown, Salt's Neck. I'm very much enjoying getting these episodes, or at least extended periods of time, this season outside of the severed floor at Lumen. Just gives the show a bit of life visually to kind of mix it up a little bit so it doesn't get so stale, staying in those same white rooms and boring corridors. Not that they make them boring, just that visually an episode like this, even though it is very bleak and depressing and kind of awful, there's also something quite visually exciting about it, and it's shot beautifully. It looks amazing. I really liked the mood and tone of this episode, going into this town that was built up by Lumen with a big factory, and they gave them a bunch of jobs, but because Lumen is a big corporation, and so just by being a big corporation fucking suck, they left, and now the town are all drug addicts. And it's sad and depressing, but the bleak mood of the episode I thought was really exciting and interesting, and a really kind of different part of this universe, and I kind of like seeing the world expand and grow. Mostly, we do get a couple of things that I thought was a choice. But overall, this episode feels really different to a lot of them. I think some people might find it a bit weird that we're spending an entire episode on Miss Cabell as she goes off and does a little bit of backstory digging, and we get a massive reveal that I feel like is going to be very controversial. One might say it could divide the fandom, or sever the fandom, because I feel like I really don't like it, but I'm also I feel like I could be convinced it's genius, and I don't know why we're pussyfooting around this stuff. This episode, we find out the shocking truth about Harmony Cabell, that despite the fact that she's older than me, she's not aware that you shouldn't be rinsing your mouth when you brush your teeth. Episode opens and she's brushing her teeth with a toothbrush, and I understand she can't take an electric toothbrush with her. She's on the run, she doesn't have time to buy it, maybe she won't have a charger, what if it runs out of charge? She's got a normal toothbrush, that's also not a good idea for your teeth generally, but at least she brought a toothbrush on her when she's on the run back to her hometown, so she had the sense to stop and buy one at a petrol station. But there's almost no point in brushing your teeth if you're just going to immediately throw a bunch of water in there, rinse it, and throw it all out. All the fluoride's going to go. I don't know, does Lumen not have a good dental plan? Has a dentist not informed her of this? It was just crazy to me. I was like, I can't believe that. That doesn't make any sense to the character that I know as Harmony Cabell, that she wouldn't know not to rinse after brushing her teeth. It's just crazy. Crazy to me. Also, slightly less crazy, she invented being severed? Sorry, what? This massive twist and reveal feels like it has come out of nowhere. The whole season she's been I've got this thing holding over you all, outie helliers all come inside, you definitely won't be shot in the back of the head, come inside. And there's been something where she's if I reveal what I know, and there's been something simmering, so we knew there was going to be something, some kind of reveal, some kind of twist. But the fact she's the mad scientist that created the severed program doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like it doesn't work with what I know of her as a character up until this point. I feel like it's definitely not something they had from the outset when they made her character in season 1. I could be totally wrong, and it doesn't necessarily make anything wrong. I understand you can make stuff up as you go along, but for this one, it's just kind of I liked her character as it was, as this kind of cog in the machine, and she was running this severed program, but the fact that she created it is just crazy to me, because it's for one, I thought the whole severed program was the foundation of Lumen, from decades, centuries, ages ago, really far, a long time ago. But it's not 20, 30 years max. It just kind of seems crazy to me that the person who created it is and also we have severed buildings and places all over the world. I want to stay in this one little horrible snow town. Also, I want to be the spy next door to Mark. And it's why is the mad scientist who created this doing that? Why are they doing all these little kind of tasks? I feel like it's just too much stuff. But on the other hand, where I could potentially kind of decide that maybe it's a good twist, is that it is interesting that the person who created this thing is someone we have an emotional connection to in some way. And so it is kind of interesting. But switching back to on the side that I don't like it, I kind of like the idea that it was this vague, it's not magical, supernatural thing, it's in science, but it's this kind of unknown sci-fi thing, and it's like, how do they do this? It's not really important. But then she's just like, I don't know, I just like wrote some notes and was like, this is how we do it. And it just kind of takes away a little bit of that mysterious, mystical strangeness to it all, where it's like, how did they do this thing? This lady just was like, I don't know, I just came up with it. I don't know. Just kind of takes away a bit of that kind of, ooh, what's going on? What is going on? And it's like, oh, it's just this lady. She just sucks. But then spinning back around and being like, why I do like the twist, I really like, and I really love how this episode kind of explains so much without fully kind of going into it, just being like, well, this is what happened. So she was a child slave labor person, and by the age of 8, Lumen had her working in this ether mill, and they were doing ether at like 8 years old. I like to party in high school as well, but 8 years old is just too young. That's simply too young. And I do really love the idea that Lumen indoctrinate these kids from a very, very early age and kind of like snatch them up, mold their like minds and stuff, make them take ether or whatever, and kind of create these child soldiers that become their lieutenants and stuff that run all their corporations. And it kind of explains why the little girl, who I thought was, is she 7? Like, what's going on with this girl this season? It always felt a little bit just almost too quirky and a bit like, ooh, aren't we quirky and weird? Whereas now it's like quite sad and tragic when it's just like, no, it's just some child. They haven't done anything to her. Well, I mean, they have, but it's no like magical procedure to twist her brain. It's no old person's brain and a young person Get Out style or something. It's like, no, they just indoctrinate children at such an early age and craft them to be what they want to be. And I think that's really interesting, and I really like the idea that like this one child that they've been crafting and molding was also like the brainchild for this crazy thing that expands what they're trying to do. But also it's like, isn't the whole thing being they're trying to use Severed to get rid of everyone's emotions and make them docile, and like, that's what they're like, that feels like that's their whole goal as like a company. And to be like, they were a company for hundreds of years, and now just like 20, 30 years ago, this one lady's like, what if we did this? And they completely pivoted everything onto this one thing. I don't know, it just feels a little strange. I don't know, it just feels like that's not what I thought I was watching in season 1. Felt like it was this thing that had existed for ages. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm putting on my own like mythology to it, where I just expected the lore to take place over ages rather than this very short period. Also, maybe I'm being very generous and Harmony Cobell looks older than I think she is. Maybe she's looking fantastic for an 85 to 140-year-old. We don't know. I do know. She's like, what, 60 max? I don't know. Just feels like a little messy. Like it wasn't a reveal where I went, wow. I was like, hold on. I feel like I have more questions, and they're not good ones. I don't know. I'm curious what people think. I would love to be convinced that this is really, really genius. I kind of liked the episode and how bleak and miserable it was. I love this little town. It looks beautiful. I did love seeing all the backstory, all the stuff with her mum. Some really weird, sad shots. I like seeing her kind of team up with his old friend that she clearly used to kind of be a lover with, and them doing ether together. All this stuff I really liked. And her auntie absolutely sucks. It's really cool to see people who are fully in the Lumen cult on the outside and just them living. She's a pariah to the town, the whole town. Everything was so good. Then the reveal's like, what? What? Okay, I mean, sure. I don't know. But then again, I'm very interested to see when she interacts with Mark next week and tries to heal him, and she's like, hey, I'm sorry I created this whole thing, and I suck. I'm a mad scientist, and I deserve to die. But I'm going to help you, and there's going to be a fun redemption arc there, and there's nothing I love more than an anti-hero getting some redemption. So, I don't know. I can change my mind and be very excited for next week. But considering the incredible kind of bottle side character focused episode of last week, where we found out so much about Mark's wife, and Gemma had this great journey, and we find out she's being severed all over the place, and they're trying to push how much they can sever somebody, and just, I don't know, I felt like the answers we got in that were really like, whoa, oh, cool, oh, we're really getting somewhere with this. And this was kind of like, oh, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm not going to be fully satisfied with some of the twists and turns moving forward if this is one of them. But, as I said, I'm happy to be proven wrong. Because I'm nothing if not someone who is mostly wrong.